Coming up on LUTV News, when you go to a St. Louis Blues game, there's a pretty good chance you'll see this guy, Towel Man, as the Blues make their way into the playoffs. We went to find out who Towel Man really is. Plus, it seems like everyone has a podcast these days. This edition looks at the popularity podcasting has and what drives people to do it. And Missouri Sewer District crews are trying hard to sell St. Louis County customers on saving neighborhoods and historic sites from erosion. Those stories and more ahead on LUTV News. Welcome to this edition of LUTV News. I'm Michael Bird. The Towel Man is a popular guy in the stands at St. Louis Blues games. He hands out towels and leads cheers when the Blues score goals at Enterprise Center. He's been involved in the tradition for almost 30 years. Video journalist Caleb Reardon sat down with him to get to the bottom of who the Towel Man really is.
If you are a St. Louis Blues fan, you are familiar with Ron Beckley. If his name doesn't ring a bell, his nickname absolutely will.
The Towel Man, this is something started 29 years ago. It came from Peoria. And basically when the Blues score, we get up and we count the number of goals they scored as a way to support the team and hopefully antagonize the opponent. It started back in the old arena. And there before the Jumbotron existed. And as I said, we went to Peoria the year that I started this, and we seen a guy by the name of Pete Martin who was doing something similar to it. And we decided hey, we can bring this back to St. Louis.
He brings 7 towels to every game, along with a backpack full of other merchandise.
7 towels, and usually a couple T-shirts and cards and different things. The first couple times I ran out, I got paper towels from the bathroom or took the shirt off, but I carry a skate lace, and if we scored 7, I tie the skate lace to the towel and I throw it and pull it back so I have a towel for the next goal.
Ron is not at all affiliated with the Blues. His tickets and towels are all paid for by himself. When he is not tossing towels into a hollering crowd, he is running his own business.
I graduated from a trade school, South County Tech, and from there I went on to learn sign painting and graphics and lettering and logos, and then it developed into a sign business. So I do a lot of outdoor signage, entry monuments, graphics on cars, wraps, trailers, trucks, construction trailers, equipment.
Ron also has a passion for music. He is in a few bands and plays shows regularly.
And then I have a group of guys, a couple from different bands. We call that band Sideline. And we get together once a month, and Slark has dances for special kids. And we do that once a month. We've been doing that for 35 years.
Ron has seen a lot in his 30 years as a Towel Man, but there's one thing he hasn't seen: a Stanley Cup.
When the Cup gets here, I expect to see everybody down on Market Street. We're going to party for a good 3-4 days. I'll see you there.
For LUTV News, I'm Caleb Reardon.
You can watch an away game with the Towel Man at any number of Blues watch parties that take place in bars in the St. Louis area. You can also email Ron at rbadv@msn.com for your advertising needs. When people think of the St. Louis area, one thing that always comes to mind is Emo's Pizza. Emo's has been around for decades, with several locations including St. Charles and across the bridge in Illinois. We're about to meet a couple who were the first to own an Emo's Pizza and not be graced with the Emo's name. Here's LUTV's Luke McMahon with the story.
The Emo's Pizza franchise has been around since 1964, and this location in Columbia, Illinois has been run by the same couple for over 30 years. Joe Parada started working at Emo's in St. Louis when he was just 13 years old. At a very young age, Joe and his soon-to-be wife Karen became close friends with the Emo's family.
That goes back quite a few years. We were lucky enough to be friends with the Emo family, and my husband had a job rolling dough when he was 13 years old at the Thurman and Shaw store.
And at the age of 23, Joe became the first person that was not from the Emos family to own his very own Emos location.
Ed Emo, which is the founder of Emo's Pizza, he was friends with a man through a restaurant supply company that found this location. He lived in this town, and the previous restaurant owners, Egon and Lee Shearing, had closed their restaurant, and this place was available. So Ed Emo actually at that time asked Joe if he'd like to start his own store. So we came over to Columbia, Illinois, and I've loved it. We've been here 30 years. Love it.
While Friday nights are typically the busiest day, according to Karen, there is no rest for the weary in owning your own pizza shop.
We come in the morning, we get set up for the day, we slice our own veggies, we make our own sauce, we grate our own cheese, and we just get ready for the lunch, which usually starts around 10:30.
Everybody knows the slogan for the Emos franchise is "The Square Beyond Compare." But does everyone know the backstory behind the slogan?
And people have heard this story that Ed Emo was the tile setter, and he always cut in straight lines. So we've always heard that because he was a tile setter, that's how he did it. He wanted to do something different.
Married and owning your own Emos for over 30 years can have its ups and downs. But Karen says the experience is one that she wouldn't trade for anything.
Working with my husband is challenging, but I'm sure working with a wife is challenging too. But it also has blessings because we are together every day. It's great. We live right down the street. It's very close to the store. We're here all the time. We spend morning, nights. We're always here. So it's convenient having both of us work here.
Luke McMahon, LUTV News.
Joe and Karen's Emo's Pizza is located in Columbia, Illinois on Evergreen Lane. They are open Monday through Sunday from 10 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. If you survived cold and flu season, chances are you've seen a nurse practitioner. Many patients are diagnosed and treated by these professionals at urgent care facilities or at their doctor's office. However, these same patients may not fully understand what a practitioner does and what it takes to become one. Our Sandy Liegamjorn spoke with local medical professionals and has this story.
Many people don't know the difference between a nurse and a nurse practitioner. Dawn Forbes, a nurse practitioner at St. Luke's Urgent Care, will explain what it is like being a nurse practitioner and what it takes to become one. Nurse practitioners have what's referred to as full practice authority in 20 states, including Missouri. Their experience as working nurses give them a unique approach to patient care. I'm Sandy Liegamjorn, and I went to get the news.
Nurse can do what the doctor says. She can't change the orders, and the medical decision making is the most like a nurse practitioner can do the medical decision making to diagnose health concerns and problems like diabetes, heart attacks, where the nurse would say, oh, this patient has chest pain, this patient is short of breath, where I would call it respiratory distress, or what, like a chronic disease process. I would be able to diagnose it more like a doctor and order the medicines. They cannot do that. They can give the medicines and do the treatment that I would prescribe, but they can't implement or diagnose it.
Work alongside each other. We're partners, so a lot of times the nurse will go ahead and triage the patient, get the patient going, and then the nurse practitioner will come in, and collaboratively we continue to take care of the patient until they're discharged.
You get your registered nurse, and that's usually a 4-year degree, and then you go on to get your master's and doctorate, and the doctorate isn't mandatory yet, but you can, so I just have my master's. I've been a nurse practitioner for 8 years, and I studied 3 extra years after my bachelor's, and then I took a medical board test that's approved by the healing arts for nursing. It's not under the medical healing arts, but it's under that's also a difference between a doctor and a nurse practitioner. The nurse practitioners are under the nursing board. And that test is like a national test that you have to take.
Through the state of Missouri and through other states, the physician is the highest level of care, and then it's the nurse practitioner and then the nurse.
The most challenging thing, depends on the day, but is when patients don't want to do what you ask them to do. And it would help them if they would take care of themselves. Or like if you say, if you get worse, come back or call, and sometimes they just don't listen or know what to do, and then they don't do what you say, and then they have complications, and you feel like your hands are tied. I'm in an urgent care setting, so it's different because I don't see my patients usually that often. They only come in like when they have a laceration or a broken bone or cold. So sometimes I don't know the end of the story, and it makes it very frustrating to know if they're going to get all the way better or not. The best thing is I can usually fix problems pretty quickly. In urgent care, you can put them back together, and for me it's satisfying that I can help them, especially if it's a kid or something with a broken bone and you set it and put it back. They're just automatically relieved, and you calmed them down and fixed them, and then they go on their way.
For LUTV News, I'm Sandy Leakum-Jorn.
Nurse practitioners provide 80 to 90% of services that primary care physicians offer. Coming up, there has been a rise in popularity of podcasting. What is making it so popular? Find out when we come back.
We're walking to school. I started thinking about lunch. Mom packed me turkey and cheese.
She's
I really
smart.
want cheese pizza.
Sometimes her mind wanders.
We should have a sleepover.
I remember saying, Laura?
I think I heard Mom say something.
The sign says don't walk.
Sometimes it's so overwhelming.
I really hope she doesn't
I
have
really
another
hope I
bad
don't
day
have another
at
bad day at
school
school today.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
Welcome back. Podcasts are one of the fastest growing trends in the world. With the number of listeners and creators on the rise, video journalist Caleb Reardon talked to the producer and co-host of a locally run podcast.
Podcasts are reshaping the entertainment industry, and the people involved are growing in hordes. I'm standing inside the studio where my podcast, Pulling the Sports Opinions, is filmed and recorded, and I talked to my co-host and producer about where they think the future of podcasts are headed.
I like podcasts because they're really easy to listen to. I'll be doing homework or something and I can just turn on, latest episode. And it seems like a lot of them aren't you don't need to listen to it in chronological order. You can just pop on a random one from 2 years ago and it'll still be significant. My favorite podcast, I got a couple. I like the Stone Cold podcast with Stone Cold Steve Austin, mainly because he goes on there and talks for the first 30 minutes about something you probably don't even know what's going on. He just rambles off, goes off the top of his head. I like Joe Rogan too, just because he's got such a wide variety of guests, and he's a goofy dude, so he keeps it entertaining.
One of my favorite guys to listen to or actually watch is Gary Vee. He talks a lot about business, social media side, inspiring stuff, just kind of push you through your day, stuff like that, just to push you towards your next goal.
Listening to podcasts is easy. Creating and supporting a podcast on multiple platforms takes some work.
I've been doing Pulling the Sports Opinions for over a year now. We do it on Monday nights, and we usually do it for all sports, or at least the ones that are relevant right now, so MLB, NBA, and NFL, and then we separate it where we'll post one day and post the other two the next couple days.
I joined late on the podcast. I showed Caleb and Chase how to get it onto Apple Podcasts and how to move it off just SoundCloud to push it to something else for them. And I think that's really helped us out a lot.
Luke's our producer. That's why we call him Producer Luke. He's a guy back there. He's killing it. He's grinding. He's making all the videos. He's editing all the stuff. And then Caleb does the same thing, but he does it for the audio versions like Apple Podcasts and SoundCloud. And then I'm in charge of social media. where I'm posting like polls, and on Instagram I'm cropping videos and putting videos up for, say, like a breaking news or something. And then obviously me and Caleb are also co-hosts at the show.
As the popularity of podcasts grows, it is going to affect other traditional media outlets.
I think it's really crazy how far the podcasting has come, because, you know, I remember like hearing about it 10 years ago and it's such a small thing, and now it has blown up so much. I think with the fact that cable television is kind of falling off, people don't want to pay money. They can get entertainment elsewhere by like free services like podcasting and like Apple Podcasts and SoundCloud, like these things that you can just go on and listen to stuff for free. I feel like podcasting is on the rise, and it's just going to keep going and going and going, because I mean, it's a free medium and it's free entertainment.
It's all technology driven now. Everything's on your phone, everything's on your computer. It's all about the internet nowadays instead of TV and radio.
For LUTV News, I'm Caleb Reardon.
Shows like The Joe Rogan Experience, The Gary V Audio Experience, and Pointless Sports Opinions can all be found on Apple Podcasts. For more information about the growing trend, visit podcastinsights.com. A Lindenwood student is getting closer and closer to making it big on YouTube. He interviews upcoming artists and gives them a platform to promote their work. Video journalist Tyler Cohane got to talk with him about his channel, Dorm Room Entertainment.
Maddie Woods, Tiala Taylor, and Mastermind are all artists that have been interviewed by Keaton Jones, the host of Dorm Room Entertainment. Keaton gives a platform to upcoming artists to spread their work.
It's short for Dre, but Dorm Room Entertainment, like dorm room and then entertainment.
What's up, guys? I'm Tiala Taylor, and this is Dorm Room Entertainment.
So it is an entertainment media page that deals with interviews with different people around the world, specifically like artists in general, but mainly like dancers, photography, rappers mainly. That's like my big go-to, and like just different people in that age. But I'm trying to build an empire and do like music videos, cartoon shows. Like I'm trying to make it like a media outlet for like kids who are bored in college to like watch and like enjoy the culture of hip-hop. Funny story. So I was at In-N-Out Burger in the summer last year, and I was with my cousin who's a videographer. He said, hey, like, what are you doing in school? And I told him I'm going through existential crisis. Like, I don't know what I want to do in school. And so he was like, what do you like to do? And I just kind of told him, like, I like music videos and watching interviews, and like I just like YouTube in general. And so he was like, honestly, you could create your own stuff. And I was like, yeah, but that's like too much like money. And so I started this basically over time. Like I started the idea in June, and I didn't get my first video out till January.
We are Street Cats, and you're watching Dorm Room Entertainment.
So things take time, but my first video was basically an interview with this rap group called Street Cats in Dallas, and so from then it just started picking up from there, and then I just kept it going with different interviews. But I'm leaning more towards music videos, so we're gonna see how that happens.
Aside from interviewing upcoming artists, Keaton has also started directing and editing music videos. Currently, he has one available on his page. His use of color and location give him a unique style.
Shout out to Judge Williams and shout out to Danny Gerber. They're my videographers for this, and I'm also a videographer as well. Shout out to my friend Dawson, who does my pictures, and he's like a DP. I mainly do all the edits. Like, shout out to them because they shoot everything for me, and they just help me out big time with B-roll. But I mainly direct the whole interviews. Every single interview that I've done has been directed by me.
Not really my thing.
I like that. So what advice would you give to any person that's trying to get a career in dancing right now, that's growing up, they're like telling their mom, I really want to do this? What advice would you give them?
Practice.
Just like what shots to get, like what to do in this part, what to do right here. And then when I go back and edit it, it's like I'm going through like a mental like mindset of like, this is what I literally said and this is what I really wanted. So I'll definitely say with the B-roll wise, I just try to be as weird as possible. I'm a huge fan of slow-mo. So if I see like a slow-mo shot with a different color grade, just like going across the face of someone or like going across like like him. It's just like, I don't know, it's aesthetically pleasing to me. So I usually do the B-roll first, and when I do the B-roll, I just mainly tell them like, well, we're in the whole art studio. It's not a dorm room, which I wish it was, but we're in the whole art studio, so it's like, it's so much stuff to play with. So much stuff to play with. So when we're in this art studio, we're just like, all right, you go over here, I'll put the light to blue, CTO, and then I'll do this, CTO, like, and just like stand still, look at the camera. They'll think like it's probably like the stupidest thing ever when they see the lights go up and then they like see the shot afterwards. They're like, wow, like that was actually really dope. I'm really trying to reach that one big name and just let it grow from there.
You can check out Keaton's latest interview with St. Louis artist Mastermind, available now on his YouTube channel, Dorm Room Entertainment. There are new bar regulations for every tavern on Main Street in St. Charles. It's where hundreds of people, many of them Lindenwood students, like to hang out each night. LUTV's Garrett Anderson talked to bar owners and employees about the new rules putting a strain on their businesses.
St. Charles City Council has voted in favor of a new set of rules in place on North Main Street in hopes to curb the late night drinking.
It's definitely changed. This time last year, I felt like on a Thursday night, we could have 500 to 700 students from Lindenwood in here when we do college night on Thursdays, and now you maybe see 100 to 200, but just all the other bars. This time last year, you had Bobby's Place was there, and Undertow, and 212, and they're gone. So, before, if we had 500 or 700, I knew those bars had people, and now it's kind of, I don't know where everybody's going right now. It's kind of displaced the business a little bit.
Bars on North Main Street will have to provide 50% of their business from food sales.
So, the ordinance is a food-based ordinance that they passed along with a point system. So we've always been fine with the food ratio, but I feel like in general, a lot of people, because of those ordinances, what they heard on the news, makes them think that Main Street's closed down. We get emails and phone calls all the time asking if we close at 11, if we're still open. We booked a class reunion for later this year, and the people said, well, Bobby's Place closed from the city, is that going to shut you down? They were worried about booking their class reunion here. I was like, we're not really affected by that. But Bobby's Place closed on their own. The city, they're actually not going to check those food sales until June of 2019, or June of 2020, they'll look at 2019's numbers. So Bobby's Place could have stayed open longer, but I think they knew that they were dead in the water because they didn't serve enough food.
There will be a new point system. Bars will receive points for various alcohol violations. For example, if a bar is caught serving a minor, then they will receive 3 points. Bars can be closed down if they earn 6.5 points or more, or have 3 violations within 90 days.
Our current mayor and current city council are the people who proposed these ordinances. The first ordinance that they proposed was a noise ordinance that was going to affect ban amplified music on any patio in the entire city of St. Charles. They proposed that this past summer.
St. Charles City Council will have an election on April 2nd for the new mayor. The current city council has new proposals that will take effect on North Main Street this year.
And then they proposed closing all the bars at 11 o'clock. That was the next proposal. And that's what actually the person who sponsored that is in the ward where Lindenwood's at. So that proposal was over the summer. They said that, oh, we're not telling you guys you got to close at 11. You just got to stop serving alcohol at 11, which people aren't coming down to Main Street to eat at midnight.
Unlike the bars on North Main, businesses and restaurants feel little to no effect by the new rule changes implemented this year.
It don't ever affect my restaurant. It's the same people because I close early. We have a good dinner crowd. Main Street's thriving. Good. We went through a period in the winter when it slowed down, but that's natural for winter.
Bars are having trouble upholding their end on the 50-50 rule for the food.
We have to comply to the rules of 50% alcohol, 50% food. And you have to have, the food sales has to be good. A lot of people can't comply to that because they're strictly bars. That doesn't affect me because we're more of a restaurant than a bar. Although we sell a lot of margaritas, but we do have more food sales.
St. Charles has a new mayor by the name of Dan Borgmeyer. This may affect the future of businesses on Main Street like Quintessential and La Tia and Panchos. Several areas in St. Louis County are suffering from erosion issues. This is also affecting many different people's homes. Stay tuned to see how Missouri Sewer District plans to resolve this issue.
I'm one unlucky guy. The chance of being involved in a robbery is 1 in 757. The chances of being struck by lightning. 1 in 750,000.
Please fasten your seatbelts for unexpected turbulence.
The chances of being a victim in an airline crash? 1 in 29 million. Hey, could I get some peanuts? The chances of being involved in a car crash are far greater than lightning strikes and plane crashes. And if you are texting while driving, your risk of crash increases 23 times. Now, I may be an unlucky guy, but I don't have to be part of that statistic, and neither do you. Drive responsibly.
Welcome back. Lindenwood University is home to many clubs and organizations, and they all have their own social media accounts affiliated with Lindenwood's name. However, there are a few anonymous Instagram accounts that bring a new, raw perspective that may represent certain students at the university. Video journalist Tyler Cohane got the inside scoop from the account owners themselves.
Overheard Lindenwood, LU Barstool, and the Plum King are just a few of Lindenwood's anonymously managed Instagram accounts. These accounts post to their page humorous content relating to Lindenwood. The account owner of LU Barstool, who requested to stay anonymous, talked about running the account.
At the moment, we are in the process of becoming an official Barstool page. Still not affiliate of Lindenwood, obviously, but affiliate of Barstool Sports. I mean, I made it just kind of like as a joke, really. I mean, I was like, I think it'd be kind of funny, maybe get like a couple followers, you know, whatever, and then it just started blowing up. Like one of our videos has like 700 views or something like that. So I mean, we get quite a bit, but you know how people are. They don't always like stuff and how that kind of goes, but I mean, we're really just out there to put more content out there. I mean, we don't really care how many likes we get or what we do. We just want everybody to see it. We think it's funny. So if you're willing to listen to videotape you and they're willing to send it in, then it's going to get posted. So, I mean, my word of advice is just be careful, I guess, when you let people videotape.
LU Barstool gained more than 450 followers in just 2 months since its creation. Another unofficial Lindenwood Instagram account is the Plum King. The Plum King has also requested to stay anonymous.
So basically, it's me photoshopping a plum with a crown onto various things that are Lindenwood related. Originally, it was an inside joke with me and my friends, and so I changed my phone name to Plum King and started airdropping a bunch of random stuff at Spellman and Evans, and it got attention. People would start screaming, "Who's the Plum King?" And me and my friends thought it was hilarious, and so they were like, well, do an Instagram, like then you can like keep it consistent. And so just out of spite, I did. The last one I did was one from the women's water polo tournament of somebody, and they were throwing the plum. So instead of the ball, it was a plum. A lot of different mixed responses. A lot of people think it's funny. Some people find it annoying. I know Overheard Lindenwood has talked about me several times about how I'm a wild child and things like that. So I think it just depends on what your sense of humor is. Well, I could say what most people say. They say long live the Plum King. Oh, also people ask if I'm gonna put an heir to the throne, and no, I'm not. There's no suitable people.
Once you attach a face to an account, then they become the account. The content on the actual account no longer matters because it's all about the owner and the person behind it. Me and a friend founded LU Cans. It was kind of in response to the irony that we were a dry campus, but our campus was littered with all these beer cans and liquor bottles. And so we used it as a platform to mock, essentially, Lindenwood, and also kind of show that, yeah, we're a dry campus, but everyone's drinking on it. I don't know if they properly represent Lindenwood as like a university and as like a brand, but I think as far as like student life, I think it's pretty accurate because, you know, we're all a bunch of college kids and we're all kind of like fumbling through these 4 or 5 years that we're here. And I think that really is highlighted on these accounts, you know. The Plum King puts just kind of like weird, crazy stuff on their account, and that's something that I think we can all kind of relate to, is this kind of like meme culture. LU Overheard just highlights the weird snippets that you hear in different conversations, and that we're all kind of talking about strange things, and that all of our lives are a little weird and mismatched.
While these accounts are not affiliated with Lindenwood, they may, however, become part of the school's legacy. Vinyl records are making their way back into pop culture. Coming up on April 13th, it will be Record Store Day. Many independent record stores are hosting events in honor of the special day. Video journalist Taylor McDaniel has the story on this big day.
I like vinyl records because I love the way that they sound. They have a richer, older sound, and I have a thing for music from the 60s, 70s, 80s, so I like hearing the music in the way that it was often listened to by people who had it.
That's what I grew up with, you know, vinyl at first, and then eventually when CDs came out, I started buying those. But I always preferred vinyl just because there's something tactile about it, and you have to flip it over, so it's more of an experience than just playing something in the background. A lot of it is nostalgic, you know, just growing up like that with listening to records. I thought that was the only thing that would ever, you know, be a hard copy for music.
I've worked in a record store since I was, I don't know, early 20s. Even when I wasn't working at a record store, I was always spending all my free time in other record stores just because it's my complete passion to be around music and, you know, be engulfed in music, buying music, listening to music.
Having Vinyl Record Day is a very good way to be able to remember how music used to be listened to. Remembering the ability to tangibly listen to music in the way that it was created to be listened to is very important. And a lot of people like myself who are musicians, we value music and its creation and its ability to be bought physically.
We big day planned. I mean, they put out like, I think 500 to 600 special releases come out on that day, only in independent record stores. So we bought as many of those as we could afford. We're gonna have our friends barbecuing here all day. Yeah, it's just gonna be an all-day party.
Many stores in the St. Louis area are hosting events during the day. Some of these events include exclusive sales opportunities, food vendors, and live music performances. For a full list of participating stores, you can visit recordstoreday.com and click on Show Record Stores Near Me. You can also search for other locations by typing in the city or state in the search bar. We've seen a lot of weather changes between rain, sleet, snow, and sunshine. Within the past few months, the erosion from these climate changes has damaged the landscaping of various communities in the St. Louis area. Proposition S was on the ballot Tuesday in St. Louis County to help address the issues. But voters decided to vote no on that idea. Video journalist Garrett Anderson takes a look at what the Metropolitan Sewer District was trying to do in order to fix a problem with erosion.
1841, Bottom Presbyterian has the oldest cemetery on this side of the Mississippi River. The church's cemetery is suffering from erosion from nearby Crevecourt Creek.
3 years, the creek has eroded the west bank of the creek, which is where our Old Stone Church is located. And in the last 36 months, we probably lost about 8 to 10 feet of bank that has now come so close to the fence that cordons off our cemetery that we're now at risk over the next few years to threaten the cemetery burials that are the people that are buried in our cemetery.
Members of the congregation has reached out to various organizations to help fix the erosion issue, but to no avail.
What we did was to reach out to various governmental entities to see if we could get any help in trying to address the situation. And we reached out to the Army Corps of Engineers, FEMA, St. Louis County, Missouri Department of Natural Resources, St. Louis County, City of Chesterfield, and no one really had, and also MSD, and no one really had any ways of being able to help us, and so we were feeling like we were being left on our own to try and address a situation that really wasn't anything that we caused, but we're bearing the brunt of the flow of the waters.
Over 125 members have been buried at this cemetery. One of the members, John Baxter, actually has a road named after him in South County called Baxter Road.
Our inclination was that we wanted to honor those that had been buried there and do everything we could not to disturb their place of rest.
The Metropolitan St. Louis Sewer District, also known as MSD, has been told about these erosion issues throughout the St. Louis area. They are not funded to fix erosion issues because they are a sewer company. They can only fix sewer issues, but they still try to help as much as they can.
I have a ballot initiative that's going to be on the ballot in April of 2019 that will address erosion. If that ballot goes through, we'll be able to be we're in the best position to actually start fixing projects like this. The congregation of Old Presbyterian Church came to us about 4 years ago with this issue, asking us if we could help them address it. It's about a $300,000 fix, and we just don't have the funding to do that. When it rains, it starts to swell up and it starts to basically eat away at the ground, the soil, and then also the stormwater runoff from the development in this area has contributed to the problem. So it's not just the cemetery that's at risk here, but the homes around here could at some point become threatened by Creve Coeur Creek.
Proposition S failed. If it would have passed, taxpayers living in these communities would have been charged a $2.25 maintenance fee per month in order to fix these erosion issues. When we come back, Lindenwood's music production students are hard at work with a local band. Stay tuned to see what they're up to.
I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
she doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
Be nice. She's new. Hello, is anyone there? Ugh!
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened? Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi. You mean you were driving? Yeah. I mean, I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only like 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal. Actually, has she texted me back yet? Wow, I get like no bars in this place. I wonder if they have Wi-Fi here.
Welcome back. Recently, Lindenwood's men's and women's bowling teams competed at sectional qualifiers. The road to nationals is never easy, and sectionals put college bowlers to the ultimate test. Here's LUTV's Luke McMahon with the story.
Thank you very much, Michael. Well, the Lindenwood University men's and women's bowling teams have one of the longest roads in order to get the opportunity to compete and win a national championship. 11 tournaments throughout the season, 4 days a week for practice, and 6 months of the school year have led the Lindenwood Lady Lions and the Lindenwood men's team to one of the most important weekends of the tournament season. It is the USBC sectional qualifiers for 2019. The USBC sectional qualifiers is where varsity teams compete in a 64 Baker game marathon to determine the top 16 teams competing at the 2019 Intercollegiate Team Championships, also known as Nationals. 25 bowlers on the roster compete in different tournaments around the country for 6 months of the school year just for this very tournament.
Well, I'm looking forward to just getting out there and competing. It's been kind of a rough year this year, but I'm really excited to get out there and just show what Lindenwood can do on the lanes.
Honestly, it's my senior year, so it's like just my last time to do what I can to help the team get to nationals. That's really all I'm really looking forward to. Just trying to be there with the guys for one last time, and hopefully we can do it.
Athletes have to be prepared mentally and physically for the grind of bowling 64 total games over the span of 2 days. Different guys on the team have various things to work on to get ready for the big weekend. According to different teammates, one important aspect kept popping up when asked what the key is to conquering the tough conditions sectionals provides.
Shot a lot of spares, definitely a lot of spares, because throughout the season my spares have been pretty unstable for the most part, and then definitely drawing up some new equipment, and then just readying myself mentally.
Well, personally, I've been having problems with some of my spare shooting, so I've been out here in the morning at 6 a.m. practices, grinding on shooting 7 pins, 4 pins, all kinds of left side spares, just that way I can get kind of comfortable. And when you're comfortable, arm swing gets looser, you don't think about it as much.
As for the Lindenwood Lady Lions team, they are the defending national champions of the Intercollegiate Team Championships. Lindenwood bowling head coach Vil Vido looks forward to the weekend grind.
Well, sectionals is what you basically do the entire regular season for. It's the first part of postseason, and without sectionals, you don't have a chance to advance to nationals. So that is the most important tournament that we bowl all year.
There is a singles portion to the sectional qualifiers to see who the top 24 are for the Intercollegiate Singles Championships at Nationals. But the team championships are what players look forward to competing for the most. For players like Ian Drone, he looks to take experiences from past sectionals into this year and make the most of the opportunities passed down to him.
So for me, last year being on the sectionals and nationals team, it was my first year doing it, and I had some great senior leadership with Michael Coffey, Jacob Klein, and Scott Hill, and they really helped mentor me. But now I feel like I'm taking a step up and also kind of becoming like a mentor to some other people, some of the younger guys on the team, or the people who are just now moving up from the B and C teams up to the varsity team. So I feel like it's going to be like kind of like a changing of the guard kind of in a way.
As for senior players like Aaron Mudlong, his first experience in the team championship portion is one he looks forward to in his last season of college bowling.
So this year compared to previous years, it's very different because I've never bowled sectionals, and I'm a senior, and I've been on a varsity team for now 3 years, and I've just never been able to bowl postseason, so this will be a completely new experience for me, so it'll be interesting.
Addison, Illinois, Stratford, New Jersey, Smyrna, Tennessee, and Dallas, Texas were the 4 locations announced for the 2019 USBC sectional qualifiers. Both the men's and the women's team from Lindenwood participated and qualified for the Addison, Illinois sectional qualifier. For the singles portion of qualifying here at sectionals, Haley Cummings, a senior here from the Lindenwood Lady Lions, qualified second at the Addison sectional qualifier and has advanced to the singles portion of nationals. For the team qualifying portion of the event, the men's team qualified in second place and the Lady Lions qualified in first place at the Addison, Illinois sectional qualifier. Both teams have now advanced to the Sweet 16 and a chance to compete for the Helmer Cup at the 2019 Intercollegiate Team Championships. The 2019 Intercollegiate Team Championships start April 17th in Dayton, Ohio. This is Luke McMahon, LUTV News.
Good luck to the bowling teams competing at nationals later this month. Lindenwood's music business students are given the opportunity to work with real-world bands. The students help bands with recording and editing their music, updating and creating social media accounts. The experience is designed to show the students what it will be like to work the job after college is over. Video journalist Taylor McDaniel met with some of the students and their band, Redwood, to see where they are in that journey.
We are trying to get the best take from this band and improve it and try and make it bigger than life and try and create that thought that's in their head and make it reality. Getting the best takes we can, doing as much work as we can, working hard and keeping on it.
My sister actually went to Lindenwood and she came across the flyer, sign up for free recordings, and so she sent it to us and we applied and they picked us and we're so grateful. Thank you. And here we are. So it's been fun because we just started tracking everything. Got the scratch tracks done a couple weeks ago, and now we're going in and actually doing guitar parts, which is my job. It's been good. It's been good. We have a good time. It's definitely been, a learning experience for everybody. It's been fun to get all of our gear out. It's been kind of sitting around for a while, but yeah, it's been a good thing.
Feel that when I perform, especially with a group of people, just that community and standing out and doing what you want to do. I think for me, it was just a good opportunity to get back into playing, because I had stepped away from it for a few years, and I knew that the guys had their own project before, and I knew that it was a tough time for all of them. So for all of us, I think it was just symbolic of something new that we wanted to make together.
The music production students are continuing to work hard. You can see what they are up to by following @LU Push Records on Facebook and Instagram. That's it for this edition of LUTV News. I'm Michael Bird. Thanks for joining us.